Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We talked with her before about enhancing your living space through interior design, really making it your sanctuary where you're proud to come home. It feels like you. What about your second residence? Maybe you have a summer home. Maybe you have another place. Have you ever thought about maybe doing the same thing for that? Many of us think, it's a second residence. I'll just handle that myself. I'll get it done. Why? It's a lot of work. You're probably not going to be happy with the results as compared to working with somebody like herself. And we're going to talk about redesigns on those other properties that you might have. Nicole Fisher from Livable Luxury is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. You're always busy. So you just went on an appointment with somebody that has a second residence?
Yes, we just finished a presentation for homeowners that have a second property up in Windham, New York. So it's their ski lodge, and they enlisted us to totally redo it. Once the place started kind of crumbling, they realized it's time to tackle it.
So give us some of the particulars as what they requested, with their vision, with their likes, their wants.
Yeah, so they're about a mile or so from the ski mountain. They bought this house about a decade ago, and it's a classic 90s ski chalet in upstate New York. It's brick red on the outside, a lot of reclaimed wood, a lot of stone, and it's actually a very beautifully done from a structural standpoint, but the inside is extremely dated. There was no AC element in the house. The heat was subpar, so they really weren't able to use it all the time. There was a serious lack of storage and functionality. And the last thing to kind of go before they called us was some of the window ceilings. The sealant on the windows started to deteriorate. So the windows aren't closing properly. And it's funny you said sometimes people just don't think their second home needs this level of, attention. And that's exactly what happened with these clients. They kind of just did it themselves, let it ride for a decade, and then things just started breaking to the point where like, well, now we got a much bigger problem on our hands, so let's bring in someone else.
Yeah, and it being your second home, you're your primary residence. So now if you're going to handle it yourself, usually these other places aren't nearby where you're currently living. How are you going to do that? Are you going to spend a weekend and try and caulk the windows and do this and do that? And it just seems like not. I just want to show up, and it ends up
Totally.
When you walk through the door.
Yeah, totally. They just really used the house in exactly that way, and almost were like, "All right, I'm going to go home tomorrow so I can forget about this." This thing being broken or this not looking right. But what they realized was the lack of functionality made it a house they could use like 3 months out of the year because it was so cold there. It's not properly insulated, and you have no AC, so they can't use it in the summer. And it just became like really unusable in a way. So why have this space if you're not going to, take full advantage of it?
Right. Yeah. And those two words, full advantage, that says it all right there. Just you show up on a weekend and now you got to deal with all these issues and it just doesn't even feel homey. And I'll bet you many in that situation, yes, blessed with a second residence, but not fun.
Yeah, absolutely. They pointed me to the tape they have on their windows because that is how they know that those windows don't seal properly. So they just put some masking tape on there. I was like, all right, guys, come on. It's time.
Wow.
To get done.
And this is an eye opener because aside from the interior design, changing the look and all, I feel many times we don't think that an interior designer takes care of those things, like the window issues and that kind of stuff. But that's all in your wheelhouse.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't have something look good, but then it is uncomfortable to be there. There's so many facets to what we do, and because we offer such a full service offering, there is no stone that's really like left unturned. But if I give you a beautiful space and then it's freezing or the windows don't close, like what's the point?
Right.
We have to address those things. That is human decency in my in my mind.
Totally. I'm sitting there in my beautiful living room. Nicole has redone everything. It looks exactly like we were thinking. I'm freezing though. I can't even get warm. I had the
Can
heat
you imagine?
cranking. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So
Yeah.
walk us through this particular project. What were their requests, the feel, the vibe?
Yeah. So when they first called, it was just supposed to be furniture. Um, so I go there and it's just straight out of the 90s, really. Um, and I was like, we can make it look better, but it's just not going to be everything you want. And I think there is, I try to tell people to do as much as you can really afford because you don't want to pay somebody to do it 50% and then you wish that you just spent the extra money to get it done right, or you wait till you can afford to do it the right way. And if I feel like I can't give you that real transformation, it might be a project that I won't take on because I want you to feel very taken care of and feel really happy with the end result. And if we kind of half it, then you're not going to feel that way.
Mm.
So I did have to do a little bit of convincing with the scope of the project, and try to tackle these, bathrooms and the a kitchen layout that wasn't functioning. I always ask people, how do they want to live? How do you want to, feel? So if their answer to me is, I want to be able to cook and see my kids and spend time with my family and everyone's in one room, and you have a kitchen that's off in a little corner in another room, then that's completely unable to, function that way that you want it. So I start asking their, wishes for the space, and then we work backwards. So when they gave me that list, most things had to do with the kids, family, entertaining. There's not enough spaces for, families that come over. If they do come over, they have, they're spending the weekend. So some element of privacy, but also, gathering. And the square footage was there, and it was really just a bad layout, in my opinion, for a lot of these spaces. So I propose that we take on a much bigger project, involving, moving some walls and updating kind of the entire flow and feeling of the space. And it's it's going to make a world of difference.
Wow. Wow. So what do you think? Now this was a proposal, right?
We just presented to them. So I proposed to them in probably January, February. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, feedback?
I mean, this might have been one of the best presentations I've ever had. They were just yes
Wow.
to everything.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, it was wonderful. They totally saw the vision, and I think because it's going to actually be a house that they want to go to and they can actually enjoy, it's gonna just, transform how they spend time with their kids. Their kids are in high school, so it's, they're on their
Clock,
phones,
clock,
they're
clock
doing their
is
things.
clock is ticking on that.
Yeah, and then like running out of times that the kids actually want to spend time with them
Yep.
or, want to hang out with them. So if they're
Sure.
going to build this space that makes the kids want to come, and, we're doing a cool movie room, we're doing their bedrooms really cool. So I think I love thinking about things in a way that's going to, create those memories for people. So I think they were able to see that vision, and it's going to be awesome for them.
What's your personal favorite feature of this project?
Okay, so I have been dying to use a orange stove in one of my kitchens, and they said yes to an orange range.
Wow.
Your face is everything.
Just trying. I'm going to be honest. What happens in this moment is I got
Uh,
transported back to my mom's kitchen, which, probably 70s. It was, it's just a memory. It's a memory. Um, and back then, green was the color. And I even remember the brand, Hot Point. How I remember that, I have no
That's funny.
idea. But it was legit green, like not like a Kelly green, but sort of like not an olive green, but definitely a green. And that was the thing. So and that was all the appliances. That was the refrigerator, the
Oh,
stove.
everything?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like that was that time's stainless steel.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a visual of that. So now I'm translating that into the orange. Um,
Yep.
why the orange and what's going around it?
Orange is definitely my favorite color. So that's number
Hello,
one.
look at the wall. It doesn't look orange because there's, a light on it, but that's
Is it orange?
oh hell yeah. It's called koi. That's
Nice.
that's the paint color. Yeah, that's orange.
Yep. So I love the color orange, and with all of these really cool ranges now, you get the industrial feeling of it, and then there's just this like bold pop of color. Um,
Hmm.
and it's just super cool. Something my husband vetoed immediately when we redid our kitchen, and I've just been trying to use it.
You're like, I'm gonna find a place for this. I am going to.
Yeah.
Gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They could have said no, but they're on board.
Yep.
What do you add to that in a kitchen?
We add we make everything else a bit more muted. We want that to kind of be the
Hmm.
showstopper. So we have some reclaimed wood elements. So the stove hood and behind the stove are going to all be clad in wood. The cabinets also have that same feeling, but it's going to be this like dusty blue on it. And the countertops will all be a soapstone, which looks, like a slate. So everything else is a bit more like tame and muted and lets that orange
Hmm.
kind of pop.
When you say when you say a slate, are we talking like a grayish?
Yes, like a charcoal gray.
Hmm. Which looks great with orange, my opinion. The wall and back, again, there's light on it, so you can't really get the feel for it, but that's a light gray.
See, there you go.
Mm. They work. I don't know how, but they work. Wow.
Yep.
Ah. Um, what about lighting in this project?
Yeah, so lighting is actually a huge problem in this house because it's extremely dark. There's these huge vaulted ceilings, and the people who built it put absolutely no light in there. So we are adding a ton of lights throughout. The main living space is going to have this, I'm not kidding, it's 8 feet wide, gigantic, like chandelier that's made out of like pieces of wood. It just looks like a pile of wood, basically, um, with about 10 lights on it. So that's just going to totally brighten everything up. And then in the kitchen, we actually have these fun copper lights that will play off the orange stove and give a little bit of shine in there. But they love the copper, so it's gonna be it's gonna be a wow.
Mm. What's the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge for me is this was certainly a bold design presentation that we did. We came in with a lot of color, a lot of pattern, a lot of things that people, sometimes are a little trigger shy on. But the fun thing about doing a second home is that it can feel like a destination. It can feel like a hotel. It can feel like you're
Yes.
on vacation. So like you can have a lot more fun in these spaces because it's not something you're looking at every day. Um, and we totally leaned into that and they got it. And the fun part is that it doesn't have to, change your lifestyle really, because we're still, incorporating all of these really durable fabrics and everything is meant to be really lived in. but we're able to really mix and match and have a lot of fun with the spaces. Your guests are going to have so much fun when they're there, and so will you.
I have the same thought in that I would I want the vacation feel. That's and I want it different than my primary residence.
Yeah.
I would imagine the bonus on this is they don't live there all the time. So now you can come in, do whatever you got to do with your crew,
Hmm.
probably get it done faster because you don't have to work around their schedules and all of that, right?
Right. Yes, we actually we're working with an organizer on this job. So they're coming in and packing them all up and putting all of their stuff into storage because they're not there. They live 3 hours away.
Wow.
And the idea of them coming up just to pack, I mean, it would take forever for them to do that on, weekends to be able to do that themselves. So we have somebody coming in, packing them up. And so the house is going to be pristine condition for, construction. It will be empty. No one's stuff is going to be there. Exactly what we strive for. It's so hard when people don't want to leave. Um, and there is not this time crunch where it has to be ready for school or we host Christmas here or, any of these kind of things that you get on a primary residence. This is much more carefree. So we are able to get in there and just do our thing.
How long do you think it's going to take total?
I think this is going to take about 8 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Mm, that speaks volumes. Because there's a meaning there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
What's
There's a
what's
lot
this,
going on.
what's the size of this place?
It's about 5,000 square feet.
Okay, that's sizable.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
a it's a big house. They were like, there's so many rooms. I'm like, there are so many rooms. There's a lot of square footage in this house.
And this is upstate New York.
Yes. So upstate New York, you kind of have two ski mountains, Hunter and Wyndham. This is near Wyndham.
Right. Do they so they would have it in time, we would imagine, around the holidays, or might not be done by then.
Yeah, we're gonna push for it. Um, Upstate New York is its own beast in terms of how quick people work. They
Yep.
tend to like to take their time.
Nothing wrong with
So
that. That's why we go upstate. I mean, I'm downstate. I'm Long Island. You're further west, but you're not upstate, upstate.
yeah.
I guess you're upstate for me. I
I'm
am.
upstate for you. Yeah, we're upstate. It's a different beast.
It
It's a
is.
lot of people who are having, vacation homes. It's a lot of second home residents.
Yeah.
And you just get a different level of, you know, urgency here than you
I,
do
I,
anywhere
I
else.
totally get it. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy going upstate because I want to get away from the rat race and the traffic and the
Yeah,
craziness, of a metro area. So I get it. So I guess there's good and bad in that. It's a
yeah,
great place to go, but then, you have challenges with people just beating to a different drum.
totally.
Hmm.
Totally. And some of that challenge is like just managing those expectations with the clients, They they live in New Jersey, so they're used to things just, moving and shaking where they are,
Yeah.
and I totally get it. But, we come into this telling them that it will take longer than you think.
Yeah.
And, just the building department takes longer than you think. Everybody takes longer than you think. So, we're quick. We like to get in and get out, but we rely on everyone to, execute.
Hey, let's look at, we've never talked before about permits. And I'm sure that can be a challenge. Every municipality is different, time frame, um, the process, all of that. What can you tell us in your experience?
Yeah, it's it's not for the faint of heart. When you need a permit is usually for anything that's structural. Sometimes your building department will require it to be more than structural, and they're just like, no, we need that approved. So if we do need a stamp for a permit, that has to go through an architect. We don't stamp anything in our office, so then we have to get an architect involved. It just adds to the time frame a little bit. more, but having a clear scope, having some element of relationship with your building department, whether your contractor has that relationship or you do, that goes a long way to be able to get things kind of approved and pushed through a little longer. Um, Sometimes these things just take forever, and if you do have that element of relationship, it makes it much better.
But if you're working in many different areas, you might not have that relationship. I mean, the town where this second residence is located,
Yeah,
I'm going to just guess you probably haven't done a project in that town.
I haven't, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you were a a contractor in a certain area and you're always doing projects within maybe a radius of 20, 30 miles, you might go back to the same people. Oh, Nicole, hey, how you doing? Yeah, yeah, we'll stamp that for you. No problem. Yeah, we got you. We know who you are and all of that. So it's almost like it's a new day every time that you have to get those permits done.
Absolutely. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, and everything is different. I remember I had a house, long story short, when I bought it, there was a shed that they put up toward the back. Now, it was a little too close to a buffer. So when I bought it, they rolled it on PVC pipe to the center of the lawn, disconnected all the electric. That's how I bought it. So phone call, text go out, bunch of friends, pizza and beer. We're rolling it back, guys. So we roll it back to where it was. Now, fast forward. Oh, side note, the homeowners removed a little bit too many of the trees. You have to retain 58% of the brush. And they went a little bit more, not a lot. So they went to the Pine Barrens. That's what it's called around here, further east. And they put branches in the ground on the Pine Barrens. So when I bought the house, I just went along and picked them all up, threw them out. Now I'm selling the house. What do? I don't want to roll that thing back out. So I had to go to a town meeting, sit there with everybody else, go up there, state my case, and pay $500. And then I was able to sell the house. But point here is there's so many different regulations, situations. Everything is different.
Yep.
It could be the littlest thing, and it could hold up an entire project.
Absolutely.
Well, that's why we call you, because I don't want to do that anymore. Best way to find you. How do we do that?
Yeah. Instagram, BNR Interiors, or our website, bnrinteriors.com.
Doesn't matter if you have a primary or a secondary residence. Change it up. Love it. Love where you live. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.